All right, we're going to take a quick look at another magazine I have here for sale. This is another one I have a couple of copies of. It is the December 1978 issue of Motocross Action. As you can see, this magazine was not stored, boarded and bagged. I will be selling it boarded and bagged, but some of these old ones, I just had them kind of shoved in a drawer at some point, and they got a little worn before I started taking a little better care of them. But it lived a good bit of a life before I had it. Some of these older ones I've acquired over the years off eBay and what have you. I didn't have them from the beginning. I didn't start really collecting until the mid-'80s, but I ended up with some doubles on some of these, and this is one I'm going to be selling. This issue here has coverage of the Ultimate Privateer YZ125, a DG water pumper Yamaha replica, a Al Baker 125 suspension mods. It also covers some interview with Daryl Schultz and a wrap-up of the 78 national championships, all won by Yamaha. Yamaha swept this year. Do you ever see those Yamahas from the late 70s with the big number ones in the plate, all of them? That comes from 78 here, where I believe it was Bob Hanna, Brock Glover, and Rick Burgett swept all the national titles in 78. Pretty cool. Here you have some ads for like Al Baker, a guy very famously who ran XRs only a little bit after this and was one of the guys behind bringing Mugen to the U.S. Very young Jody Weissel here. Jody's been around this magazine for a long time. I think he first came to the magazine in 77 or 78 and is still there, which is just crazy. Long time. That's definitely some job security there. Plus products. One of these things that's nice in these old magazines, the ads. Actually, the ads are some of my favorite things. Some of these articles now, of course, other than for nostalgia reasons, there's not much you can get out of them. But I love the old ads, stuff like this for the new bikes. This is the new RMs for 1979. These fenders, these funky fenders, were so hideous. It's funny, this weird little kind of a, I don't know, duck-billed thing they had on the fenders. The first production ones that made it to the U.S. had this front fender, but apparently there was such negative reaction to it that the second batch offered to the U.S. did not come with it. So if you see some of these RMs, early tests have this funky fender, some of the brochures and what have you. The rear one, they kept it, but they got rid of that front one. I don't know why they even kept the back one. This is... I guess it adds a little character to the 79 RMs, but holy Christ, they were hideous in my opinion. I always thought these were weird Navy ads in the late 70s here. Kind of strange this guy's in the Navy now. I'm sure they're trying to recover their image after the whole Vietnam debacle at that point. The dirt section here, the all-new 79 KX is really good-looking machines. They redesigned them completely. KX is funny, were very limited production machines in the late 70s. You couldn't get them unless you were like had a hookup pretty much. For 78 and 79, they were real low production machines. They weren't like now where you could just go to your local dealer and get one if you wanted to. The all-new Can-Am MX-5. Always thought these were just hideous-looking machines. Never ridden a Can-Am, but they weren't the best-looking machines in my opinion. High point boots. These Victory boots are awesome. Love to have a pair of those. They're really iconic design. You have the new YZs. For 79, they had a redesigned FIM mandated rear number plate. I like that look a whole lot better. This is probably my favorite year in terms of looks of the 70s Yamaha's. Really good looking machine. The Motocross Fox Airshock had a set of these on my... This one looks like it's for a mono, so long. But I had a set of these on my 78 CR250, but I was in high school at the time, and I just did not understand how they worked. They were completely flummoxing to me, so I never could get them to work right. Cool stuff. Tricks of the trade here. Of course, JT and some PJ1 stuff. Oil. PJ1 oil. I still use their filter oil for many, many years. Sear goggles. Look at that. Look like you're a stormtrooper or something from Cheeseball sci-fi movie in the 70s. Definitely not a great look. Love this machine. I had the 78. This was my first real motocross bike, was the 78 version of this. 79 is virtually identical. They made a couple little changes to the reed valve and stuff, but it was all new in 78. One of the most iconic machines of all time, the 78 Hondas, the Red Rooster. Great looking machine. Still a real popular bike to restore. Cool. Here's some coverage from, I think this is from Hangtown in 1978, or some kind of a dirt diggers promoted event. Of course, there's ladies. You'll see these old magazines always have the pit tootsies in them. It's so funny. I guess when Roland Hines took over the magazine, he kind of banned all this stuff. But these early Motocross Actions have a lot of scantily clad ladies in them. Always think it's funny. Here's Jody doing some kind of a derby. I don't even know what the hell a derby is. I certainly have never seen one, never ridden one. It sounds like an Italian bike. I don't really know, but there's a coverage of it. Cool JT ad here in the magazine. JT Racing, a lot of great stuff here. Always wanted these Hurricane decals. I thought they were badass back in the late 70s. Look at that duck build. That was never a good look. I'm sorry, Bob. The duck build visor, never a good look. I know he ran that for a while. I don't think that was, didn't work for me personally. Although Hannah was a bad dude. Here he is. Looks like it's probably Unadilla or someplace hauling the mail on his factory Yamaha. Here we have that article, how to make the Yamaha Mono better, with one of those Fox air shocks in it. I'm sure that was a big improvement. These monos were cool bikes. The design of that monoshock, though, added some kind of weird handling quirks to the machine, and there was issues with overheating of the shock, too, because it was buried up in the frame. Here's a little DG kit to upgrade the suspension from Al Baker on your Yamaha. Honda Line gear. Never a giant fan of Honda Line gear, although this isn't bad. Some of the stuff in the late 80s, was pretty cheeseball looking. Here's how to upgrade your CR250. I could have certainly used this when I had my 78. Mine was completely stock. I didn't know what to do to change it, and I probably just would have killed myself if I made it any faster anyway, so it's just as well. I remember these ads for getting yourself a complete socket set. This is that they have a national wrap up here on the Yamaha championship bikes. The Yamaha championship, winning all 3 classes in 78. Little Jimmy Weinert there. So there's all kinds of good stuff. This is a great magazine. A lot of good stuff in it for you. Motocross Fox ad. If you'd like to take a look at the auction, it will be up on eBay here, and I will be selling this magazine. Like I said, there's a really cool ad on the back here touting the triple win here. These number ones, like I said, all the standard machines going forward would have those number ones on them for a few years, up until, shucks, I think 85. They kept doing this for many years. Became kind of a joke. People didn't really care for it after a while. It's hard to get those numbers off, but I always thought it was cool as a kid. So check it out. Put in a bid if you'd like to have it. Thanks.